Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding authenticity. Specifically, we're unpacking the absolute essentials of silver authenticity, and we're drawing our insights directly from a definitive guide titled The Indian Standard, a guide to silver hallmarking purity. If you've ever held a piece of silver in your hands and wondered about its true value, its makeup, or even its history, well, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to completely break down the mechanics of trust when it comes to precious metals.
But right off the bat, I want you to look around your home, or maybe even look at the jewelry you might be wearing right now. How pure is your silver? It's a deceptively simple question, right? But the answer carries a massive amount of weight. Whether it's a cherished family heirloom passed down through generations, a recent investment piece, or just an artifact you've collected on your travels, the actual, verified quality of that metal dictates its true worth. We're going to break down exactly how you can know for sure, basically setting up your toolkit for absolute certainty.
Okay, let's dive into this foundational text, the Indian Standard, a guide to silver hallmarking purity. This single, powerful phrase is going to act as our investigative roadmap for the entire explainer today. We're actually going to tear this concept down word by word to really understand the system it creates. So we have the Indian Standard, which immediately implies this strict, unyielding benchmark. We have hallmarking, which is the actual physical method of proof. And then purity, right? That's the ultimate goal we are trying to achieve and verify.
Now, before we get too deep into the metal itself, we need to acknowledge exactly where this guide comes from. Our source material today originates straight from the digital world, specifically a channel known as Silverzz. And what's truly amazing here is the accessibility. Vital, complex information about ancient precious metals is no longer locked away in some jeweler's vault or a dusty textbook. It's being distributed directly to us online, completely democratizing the knowledge you need to protect your investments and verify your own collections.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Understanding Silver Purity.
Purity is the true measure of authentic silver content. Listen, for anyone who considers themselves a focused learner, and if you're taking the time to watch this explainer, that is definitely you. Understanding this definition is absolutely your first line of defense. It is your ultimate shield against getting scammed, against being misled, or, just overpaying for something that simply isn't what the seller claims it is. Purity isn't just some dry, boring metallurgical term. It is literally the very essence of the item's integrity.
So, I'm going to throw the question right back to you. Why does purity actually matter to you? Think about it for a second. When you buy a silver necklace for a loved one, or maybe you receive a silver bowl as a wedding gift, its purity directly impacts its physical durability, its brilliant shine, its resistance to tarnish over the years, and of course its baseline financial value. If the purity is compromised, you haven't just lost money, you might end up serving soup out of a tarnished, weirdly greenish bowl that completely ruins the vibe of your dinner party. So this seemingly abstract concept of authentic silver content, it's actually deeply personal.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 2, the Indian Standard Explained.
The Indian Standard. Wow, it carries serious weight when you say it like that, doesn't it? Our source material positions this not just as a casual, optional suggestion, but as the absolute definitive benchmark for silver quality. When a piece of silver is held up against this specific standard, there is absolutely zero room for ambiguity or guesswork. It either meets the rigorous, established requirements or it doesn't. Period. It's totally black and white.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down what a standard actually does. A standard isn't just a guideline, it's an ultimate benchmark. And because it's a firmly established rule, it inherently safeguards consumers, like you and me, from fraudulent or deceptive practices out there in the marketplace. And finally, it definitively defines quality so everyone, everywhere, is speaking the exact same language. We've taken a simple phrase from our guide's title and unpacked it to reveal a massive, structural foundation of consumer trust.
Which brings us right into Section 3, Guide to Silver Hallmarking. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of hallmarking. It's the official seal of trust and quality for silver. I really want you to think of a hallmark not just as some random physical stamp forcefully pounded into a piece of jewelry. Instead, frame it in your mind as a tiny, highly compressed mini-story of verified trust. When you see that physical mark, you are essentially reading a tiny metallic certificate that says to you, hey, this item has been rigorously tested, officially verified, and it absolutely meets the standard. Fun fact, by the way, the term hallmark actually originates from the 15th century when precious metals were marked at Goldsmiths' Hall in London. Pretty cool, right?
Let's break down the whole shebang of what that critical stamp actually represents. First up, trust. In a super crowded market where you literally cannot determine purity just by looking at the color of a shiny metal, Trust is your ultimate currency. Second, quality. This mark gives you the assurance that the material won't just mysteriously degrade over time. But third, and honestly most importantly, verification. This is the crucial step that makes the other two even possible. It means a completely objective third party has stepped in to test and confirm the seller's claims. That is an incredible amount of heavy lifting that a simple hallmark is doing for you every single day.
All right, let's get practical. Section 4, how to verify purity.
So, the crucial point is that verification is a highly active process. You're essentially playing the role of a jewelry detective here. Step 1, grab a magnifying glass and locate the hallmark. This usually requires a little bit of patience and some really good lighting because the mark is often tucked away discreetly on the inside band of a ring or maybe the tiny clasp of a necklace. Step 2, once you find it, confirm that the specific mark aligns with the Indian standard. It's this beautifully simple two-step dance that instantly transforms you from a passive, hopeful buyer into a highly informed, confident verifier. Think of it like this. On one side, we have unverified silver, which is essentially just an expensive guessing game. You are relying entirely on blind faith in a seller's word. But on the exact opposite side, we have hallmarked silver, providing undeniable peace of mind. By actively insisting on a verified Indian standard hallmark, you are completely and totally removing the guesswork from the equation. It is the literal difference between just hoping you got what you paid for and absolutely knowing it for sure.
As we bring all these fascinating concepts together, it's just amazing how much consumer protection is packed right into this core guide. How to verify silver purity, a guide to hallmarking in India. We started with just a basic digital title, and over the course of this explainer, we've unpacked it into an absolute masterclass on authenticity. We've explored the necessity of strict standards and the incredible, undeniable importance of that tiny verifying stamp.
Which leaves us with one final, very important thought to ponder today. Armed with all this new knowledge, will you ever look at silver the same way again? The next time you pick up an ornate silver spoon or slip a silver bracelet onto your wrist, I have a really strong feeling you won't just see a piece of shiny metal anymore. You're going to be actively looking for that hallmark. You'll be thinking about the rigorous standards, the precise purity, and the fascinating story of verification stamped right there in the metal for you to read. So go check your own silver right now and see what stories it tells you. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I will see you in the next explainer.